Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. So today I'm going to be doing some photography here, going to be doing some photography in Alabama Hills. This is a very unique landscape that is about an hour and a half west of Death Valley National Park here in California. And I guarantee you, even if you've never set foot in this place, you have definitely seen this place before because it has served as the backdrop for countless like television shows and motion pictures, especially back in the day when they were making a lot of black and white westerns, when westerns were the thing. And it was also used in the original Iron Man movie as well. And it makes sense, right? Because, you know, geographically speaking, it is so close to Hollywood and it is so beautiful with the Eastern Sierras back up here in the background. That's Mount Whitney. Front of the Sierras, we have this valley with all these beautiful, really strange, really amazing boulders. It's just basically a field of boulders everywhere. It's like my dream. So I'm gonna grab my bag and let's get going. This is something I haven't seen here before. I just stumbled across this. What appears to be like the back of a pickup truck, or I don't know if anyone, this looks like the rear window of it. It appears to have numerous bullet holes in it. I mean, it's very rusted out. I mean, it looks like it almost like a car went off a cliff here and they didn't clean it all up and they just left some of it. Like an old mattress, an old box spring. Loads of old soup cans like this. Another one here with definitely some bullet holes in it. Anyway, yeah, I mean, outside of the novelty of the weird old junk from Hollywood's past, this canyon right here, this canyon is just fantastic because you have all these these beautiful rocks that are flowing down here almost like a river. When you just kind of forget about where you are. If you just look at the photograph by itself or look at it on the back of the camera, it's not exactly clear where it is or where in the world it is. At least to my eyes, it's not. And I just think this is super, super cool and really interesting looking, especially through the viewfinder when you're looking at it, like that. So right now, at least, this is one of my favorite images from the entire trip. And part of the reason for that is because of what I said before about how it's not entirely clear, at least to my eyes, where exactly this image was taken. There are no Sierra Mountains in the background. It's not immediately recognizable. It could be, in the United States, or it could be on the other side of the world. And of course, I also just really like the symmetry of it. I like the light. I like how the rocks flow down, through the image towards the camera. And I especially like the little empty space, down here at the very bottom that I think provides a nice introduction into the image. If that was full of rocks, I think it probably would have felt a little bit different. The fact that it's empty, I think, provides the eye with a nice entry point into the bottom of the image. And I just feel like I lucked out with that side light that was there.
This definitely has some potential, doesn't it? I love the rock formations. I mean, the light isn't, at least it's not totally harsh. It's a little bit hazy right now, so it's somewhat diffused. But I love the colors in these rocks right over here to the base, and these plants that are growing out, the little shrubs and grass that is growing out of the side. Very, very nice. So I was feeling a little bit frustrated with the light because it was rather dim and just not quite working in my favor. So I decided to just kind of like walk around here for a minute and just, see what else was around. And in doing so, I came across this interesting assemblage up here, this little boulder right here. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but there's a little bit of light underneath it, and it's just kind of delicately balancing right there in the crux of those two rock formations. And I really like the curvature of this right here to the left, this over here. I think this is pretty fantastic how it leads into that and provides a line into it. And then there's this gigantic boulder. It's magnificent to the right, which just gives it this really hard right edge. And it's pretty cool. I don't know. It looks like it could be okay. I'm looking at it in black and white, and it is a little tone on tone, like everything is a little matchy, but I'm thinking that maybe with some exposure blending, I'm gonna shoot, one under, one over, and try to do a little bit of blending and some selective, like dodging and burning in post, something like that. And then maybe I'll be able to bring out what it is I'm looking for. But the boulder itself does have like a nice, you can see just like a little glint of light on it, right? It's just that little last bit of light. Man, I wish this was like a nice golden light, like a hard light illuminating that rock. And the face of this over here is pretty fantastic too. I love the textures and the mountains in the background. So yeah, I don't know. If I don't get it now, I'm going to mark the GPS location and maybe try again tomorrow or the next day, or maybe a completely different trip. So yeah, we'll see.
This image could have been better with stronger light, I think. Unfortunately, the weather was very hazy and the light was rather dim. I just don't feel like it quite came together as well as I hoped it would. There just wasn't enough light on the rocks here in order to provide enough visual separation between the foreground and the background. Everything just kind of blends together. Had there been harder light, it would have been a different story, but perhaps another time.
So after I return home from this trip and I have time to, sort through and edit all of my images, I will eventually be publishing them to my website, created using Squarespace. I like using Squarespace for my photography portfolio because Squarespace has clean, minimal templates that look great, and I think they're perfect for photography. I especially like how easy it is to create albums, upload photos, and organize them in whatever order I want. Squarespace is simple, easy, and you can even do fancier things like sell digital products, downloads, and grow your audience by starting an email newsletter. With Squarespace, you can register a new domain and publish a website all by yourself without writing code or paying anyone to help you out. To get going, head over to squarespace.com/Dominey. And when you're ready to go live, use promo code Dominey to save 10% off a new domain or website. I think I have something that looks pretty good. Super extreme dynamic range though. Like there's just a huge difference in tonal values between what's here in the foreground and the brilliant sunrise out there in the distance. Man, it is really hard to see because this foreground is so dark. So I'm having to like just push my shutter speed really, really slow in order to see anything, making it really, really slow so I'm able to see the foreground and actually compose my shot. And then I go back to what I was doing before. Anyway, I'm a little bit of a mess this morning. Oh my God. Just feeling rushed. There's not enough time. I know that damn sun's gonna come up before I know it. It's all gonna be over.
So yeah, unfortunately not one of my favorites. I wish this image had turned out better, but compositionally I was just really struggling to find, something that worked in the time that I had before the sun came up. And by the time I started to, find a composition, find one that I was fairly happy with, all of the color in the sky had pretty much, dissipated by that point. The sun had come up and yeah, it was too late by then. So I'm mainly just including this image here so you can see what it looked like at the time and what it was that I was trying to go for creatively. But yeah, I just don't feel like this one quite worked out.
Yep, there we go. That's it. That's it for the good light of the day, because it just exploded with sunlight as soon as it came up over that ridge back there. And now it is just, it's already super hot and super bright and getting very, very contrasty. Doesn't have that subtlety that I would like. And yeah, that's one of the unfortunate things about shooting in a location like this with a ridge behind you, a ridge directly in front of the sun, because by the time the sun gets up over that ridge, it's already fairly intense. So you don't get that nice, like soft, warm, rich light that you would when the sun is just directly above the horizon. Instead, you miss all that light because it's underneath, it's behind the ridge, and then as soon as it pops over, everything just explodes in light, and you get that really harsh, really intense light. Unfortunately, I think at this point, I'm just gonna turn everything off and have an energy bar and just enjoy the view for a little bit before I hike back down. So, as luck would have it, I was hiking up through this gulch back here. And I started looking around and I started noticing that some of it looked familiar. I started recognizing some rocks from the last video that I made here. And I kept going and going, and it started looking more familiar. And I thought, yeah, I've been here before. And then I came up around this way here, and lo and behold, here we are. This is a photo that I took a couple of years ago when I was here. And it still looks great. I don't think the weather is quite as nice as it was when I took it last time. Last time it was partly cloudy. This time it is just clear blue skies. But it is really cool to see it again. And so obviously then the question is, well, do I spend time photographing it again? Like, do I take it, take another image? So I think I'm going to give it a go. I think I'm going to try shooting this again. Well, I have to admit, I am pleasantly surprised. I think that actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. Honestly, like when I was like setting everything up and I was starting to take a photo, I was like, oh, do I really want to do this again? Am I going to kick myself later and feel like I'm crazy for like repeating the past and reshooting an image? But right now, at least based on what I saw in the back of the camera, I'm feeling pretty good about it. So yeah, can't complain. So one thing I want to mention, if you are into landscape photography like I am, and if you are perhaps planning a trip and thinking about coming here and photographing Alabama hills, one of the things I highly recommend doing is getting into the boulders. Because there's a valley here, huge valley that is just full of these beautiful, amazing, giant rock formations, and that are full of color, that are full of texture, and have all these different shapes and lines and contours, and it's so interesting. At least to me, photographically, it is. Like, I find it to be just really, really exciting and challenging creatively too. Sometimes you hear people talk about landscape photography being a game of trying to find symmetry and order in the chaos of nature, and I think that's especially true here. But one of the things that I've noticed, because I've been through here a number of times now, I constantly see people driving in here and like pulling over to the side of the road and walking like 5 to 10 feet off the edge of the road, plopping down their tripod and taking photos. And granted, if your goal is to shoot telephoto and to get some compression in your shot so that you're getting large rock formations in the foreground, and you're also getting some large mountains off in the background, because if you shoot wide angle, the mountains in the back are going to be really small, and the rocks in the foreground are going to be really big. Shooting telephoto compresses that, and that makes everything appear to be somewhat the same scale. I've shot some images that way myself, but I know for a fact from hiking around here so much that I rarely see anyone else with a camera in the actual valley, like in the boulders. Everyone stays by the side of the road. Everyone shoots from the side of the road, and I don't understand why. Like, I've seen so many people shooting from there, and maybe because it's cold, and or I don't know. Maybe it's like people just aren't physically capable of hiking into an area like this. That could certainly be a factor. I know that it won't be long for me at some point, because I'm definitely not getting any younger, and there will come a day when I'm the guy on the side of the road with my camera, because I just can't, physically hike into and climb up these boulders and stuff. It's just, it'd be too dangerous and not a good idea. But otherwise, don't stand on the side of the road. Like, get off the road. Like, actually hike into here and explore it and take your time with it and enjoy it, because it is so beautiful. It's so beautiful back here in this valley with all these boulders, and And it just frustrates me. Like I feel like getting out of the car and like going up and tapping him on the shoulder and being like, go in there. Like, don't stay here, go there. Because I think there's, not only do I just think it's more beautiful back here, but I think it's also just photographically better. I think you can get better images by being back in here. So anyway, that is my rant. If you were thinking about coming here, then that is something I would highly recommend doing. Anyway, as for me, I'm really hoping that I got at least some good images this morning. I don't know, we'll find out. I think it's high time that I hike back to the car and go get some warm coffee.